So the next game due on the Hong Kong Stadium at Songkongpo is the plate final. It's the second to last game here. South Africa to play Australia. Head to head, South Africa has a good lead, 29-19, but you can see it's been pretty even over the years. They last met a month ago in Las Vegas. Nevada, USA, South Africa won 19-14. That was a close contest. It was in the Cup quarterfinal, and South Africa are on their way to win that tournament. And in Hong Kong, it's a 3-1 lead to South Africa over Australia. So here's the South African team. It's pretty much their best lineup, but they're very strong off the bench as well. Chris Dry, the tall young forward. Frankie Hall, not so tall and not so narrow, wide and strong. Number 2, Sitole and Brown and Dupree and Delport, strong players. But number 10, Cecil Africa, has been eye-catching and eye-whitening here in Hong Kong this year. Strong bench with Boom, Prinsloo, Neil Powell, Bernardo Botha, Chocho Mbovani, and Paul Jordan, unlikely to change. He was injured yesterday. Head coach is Paul True. Australia might be struggling here a little bit. Their star player, John Grant, just announced the team a few moments ago, and it's been delivered to us, so he's coming off the bench. He's the big, tall, lanky, a lot forward. So Greg Geladev gets a chance to start. This is an even Australian team. Zach Holmes, the West Australian, gets into the team too. The two Foleys, they're not related. Vital members of the team, and Hamish Angus, a new and sparky guy behind the scrum. So Australia, they've had a good tournament here. They'll be competitive. South Africa, desperately disappointed to lose in extra time against Fiji. That was really cruel luck for them, but somebody had to lose. And Fiji, in turn, were beaten in their next match. A lot of exciting young players on view here, Wyn Griffith.
Yes, there certainly are. And Michael O'Connor has seen a number of his young starlets of last season progress to the Super 15 ranks, and that's good news for Australian rugby, of course, but now he has to mould a new squad, a new competitive squad, and they've got to the plate final.
Out come the famous colours of South Africa and Australia. This is the seven-a-side version. There's the famous mascot of Australian sport, the boxing kangaroo. Though these, of course, might be the boxing wallabies, but they play under the nickname of the Aussie Thunder, and the South Africans play under the nickname of Blitzbokke. The referee is Nick Bryant from New Zealand, a big occasion for the Kiwi. From Tauranga in the Bay of Plenty in the North Island, originally from the South Island, originally from Christchurch. So, great moment for him to control what will be a very high standard final.
The referee for this match is Mr. Nick Bryant from New Zealand.
Away we go, 7 minutes each way for the plate final. Straight away, grabbed by Sean Foley. Away it goes, out into the backs. Some lively guys here. Greg Geladev gets his first touch. And now away comes big Frankie Horn. Up they go to halfway. Frankie's got it again. He's no sprinter, Frankie, but he's as tough as teak. And he gets a very good run in. Delport away. Dry. Kyle Brown, the captain. Nice, organised start. Out it goes to South Africa, but again, we've got to remind you, it's a bit treacherous underfoot after some light rain earlier today. And grabbed by Sitole, and there's early pressure going South Africa's way. Sibusiso Sitole.
It looked as if South Africa had lost momentum as Cecil Africa, the star player in this Blitzbokke squad, slipped on the greasy surface, but Sitole challenged for the ball all the way, and somehow the ball popped up into his hands, shoved away Sean Foley, and found his path clear to the try line.
He's made fast progress this year, Sibusito Sitole. Here's the man who carries the name of his continent, South Africa. He's a brilliant goal kicker. He's a wonderful runner. He's a great try scorer. He's slightly built, but he's a brilliant tackler. His kick was missed on this occasion. Sitoli scores it. Africa kicks for goal, but misses. 5-0 though. Good start by South Africa.
South Africa is on 77 points for the season, and that's quite a haul for South Africa.
Okay, here come the Aussies. This is a good young team, well coached, and disciplined coaching from O'Connor, Coach O'Connor. Mike O'Connor. Oh, lovely run. Got away from Branko de Pree. Zach Holmes in pass. Brilliant defence on Jaladev. Fast away by Angus. This is a lovely try. And it's scored by Bernard Foley, the captain.
What a superb try that was. There is no substitute for pace. We've said so time and time again. But the speed of thought and deed of these Australians. And when the move broke down, there were two Australians there in a flash to snap up the ball. And Bernard Foley rounded it off in style.
Passed off the floor and away to Foley. So that's a wonderful reply by Australia. The conversion is over. And they have the lead against South Africa. Some might say that's against the way the form has been. Kyle Brown, battered visage of Kyle Brown, took a blow to the head, and so the blood had to be covered up and stitched dry. Delporter's number 9. The man with the flying feet there is Sitoli. Already has to try. There's Delport again. Horn nicely to Brown. Brown to Delport. Kyle Brown again. There's the halfway stripe. Branko de Pree. He's a lovely young player as well. Just 72 kgs. Gets it away to South Africa. And here comes another 5 points for his tally.
And that's probably the easiest try he'll score this weekend. Good work by Branko de Pree. Not the strongest of individuals, but certainly a wily character, a wiry character as well. Branko de Pree, one of the contracted players with the South African Rugby Union. They train, of course, together in Stellenbosch as a squad. And there appear to be some telepathy there between Branko de Pree and South Africa, who adds a conversion of his own try.
Branko de Pree, there's guys in this tournament who are 110 kgs. There's little Branko, just over 70 kgs. You wouldn't get a boxing match with a mismatch like that. And in goes the try scorer, South Africa. Of course, he's a big guy. He's just over 70 kgs as well. 12 points to 7. South Africa lead. Away comes John O'Lance. Into the backs once more. Hamish Angus is number 1. 40 metres out. This is a nice setup by Australia. Referee is calling it. And that's against Kyle Brown. They've taken a very quick tap, but you see that slippery field there. Sean Foley is number 3, and that's run away from Australia. Just not quite connecting there.
Paul True, the South African head coach, former captain of South Africa, and alongside him there is Vuyo Zangwa, who was injured in a car accident, some 12 months ago, I suppose, but being brought back into the coaching setup. And it's good to see Vuyo Zangwa, and you know, you can see how lively he is, and he wants the team to do well.
He's off out onto the field there. As you look at Kyle Brown, this looks as though there's a lot of pain for Brown, isn't there?
I wonder what happened there, Keith.
So we've got Neil Powell off the bench.
Well, Neil Powell has captained the Sevens, as has Paul Delport. A clash of heads, what was it? Yeah, caught the elbow, the shoulder rather, Bernard Foley. And I can tell you, Keith, I've seen these young Australians train in the gym this week, and they're powerful men, all of them.
There's Puyo Sangwa coming off the field, running. He runs out, he runs off, very busy. And it looks like it's the night is over for the South African captain, Kyle Brown. But don't worry, this is a good one coming on Neil Powell.
Yeah, Neil Powell actually featured alongside Paul True all those years ago. He's been around for a decade now, surely. Neil Powell, 32 years of age, a man born in Windhoek in Namibia. A scrum half in 15s.
So there's the halfway line as the game resumes. Kyle Brown coming up very gingerly indeed. So that's a sadness for South Africa. There's a tournament again in 6 days' time. And there's the man that's on the field. Makes a great break, and away goes Sitole. Good defence coming in by Australia. That was excellent tackle by Zach Holmes. And they move it. Here is the hand up from South Africa, but Branko de Pree went on his own and got it.
Yeah, the Australians were expecting that ball to be spread out wide to South Africa, but the man who should get the credit for that is Neil Powell, making an impact as soon as he gets on the field. We've just missed him out of the shot there, with the ball in the hands of Branko de Pree. Steps off his right foot, steps out of the tackle. Lovely try.
So the two little guys, I think they're both about 72 kgs in weight. Here's what the other one making the shot for goal, which just goes to show us all that there's still a place for a little guy in the game as we reach half-time. And it's a good lead now for South Africa. They've scored 3 tries and 2 conversions to 1 try. 19-7 South Africa lead. Through the second half of this second to last final, heading for the big cup final between New Zealand and England, who both share the lead on the IRB Sevens World Series table. Referee is Nick Bryant from New Zealand. The second half begins here. South Africa in command at the moment. We're 19-7 with 7 good long minutes to go. They move the ball wide. The South Africans again. It goes to Sitole. He bounces off one, gets past Holmes, gets caught by the man he pushed past. Zach Holmes got back and got him. A lot of wallabies in there, which means there must be a lot of open country elsewhere. Where's the ball going? The referee has decided not good enough.
Good work there by Zach Holmes. We saw his pace early on to create that try for Bernard Foley, but using his strength there to hold up the South African player so that Australia could get the scrum. But then it shows how important it is to win the restart or the start itself, as South Africa did on that occasion.
Well, that big scrum push by Dry and Horn. Powell. This is very close for a possible try for South Africa again. Although it's a breaking away for Australia is Sean Foley. Okay, here comes Australia. Nice breakup. This is a breakout run. And it's going to be Foley again. Bernard Foley.
It's Hamish Angus actually who claims the try, but the hard work was certainly done by the captain, Bernard Foley. Made the inroad, made the breakthrough, didn't have the pace himself, Keith, but knew exactly what to do. He waited for Hamish Angus to arrive, and it was a simple run-in for the #1 to claim a try for Australia, which brings them back within a score of South Africa.
Plays out the Marine Club in Sydney, Australia. Steeped in the game there. And so with the conversion over, they're within striking distance again. So here we go for the restart of this plate final. Taken nicely by Dry. Delport, du Preez, Africa. I think Africa's pretty well marked, and he's quite happy about that here. He had a bit of a shoulder injury in the previous game, and he's prepared to just move it along. There he does it again. Paul Delport, #9. Here's Branko de Pree. chased all the way by Holmes. At the 22-metre line, there is a man with him. And it's a lovely try. Again, for Sitoli.
And that's just to underline what you were saying, Keith, that the Australians are keeping an eye on Cecil Africa, but that has given Franco de Pria more room. But again, the Littles, what is he, 72 kgs, using his strength to good effect, and a sensible play here, just handing off the play, holding up the ball on the outside arm, and Sibusiso Sitoli getting a second try, and a vital try for South Africa to restore that 10-point advantage.
A very good example there of the worth to take the ball. Even at high speed, you have to be alert enough to swing it to the arm that is away from the defenders, from those who are trying to tackle. And that allowed Dupree to fend. He's just a little guy, but he fended and rolled the pass with the other free arm. 26-14. South Africa in the lead. Taken by Sean Foley. John O'Lance. Some of these Aussies haven't really had much time with the ball. Ooh, that was a big hit. Now Jenkins. Oh, he's buried too from behind by Horn. Oh, there's a sweet pass out wide. Jeladev has got a great amount of pace. But look at that, from the man who scored 2 tries, getting across in defence, Sitole. It's called a head high.
But the hard work again done by Bernard Foley, the captain, who's in that movement twice to get the Australians on the attack initially, then the link man in midfield. Very, very alert as Bernard Foley, as a captain has to be, of course, as a link man.
Australia need this 2 minutes to play. They need a 7-pointer here. There is Foley again. Gets it in to Foley, the other Foley. Taken again by Bernard Foley. Nice work by Lance. Space out wide, they'll need the conversion. Try for Hamish Angus.
It's good pressure rugby from Australia. The captain, Bernard Foley, in the thick of it once again, orchestrating matters. And the recipient, once again, is number 1, Hamish Angus. But good work by John Lance to hold it up and to spin out for the tackle. And Angus gives hope to Australia yet again.
So they're in touch. A 7-pointer now would force it into sudden death extra time. We had one of those moments earlier in the final. In the finals, Paul Trulick and the Excellency. These guys aren't listening to country and western music in those headphones. They're listening to the referee's calls. The crowd noise down there on the field is very noisy indeed. They like to get right in close to the action. They can hear the referee's voice right in their headphones.
Well, that's a new departure, isn't it, Keith?
So he's taken his headphones off.
Clearly not happy with what he's hearing.
Oh, that's right. Here is Australia's chance. This is it. They've got to move it. They've got to make a 7-pointer. 40 seconds to play. This is probably going to be the last play. They go. Last play of the game, just seconds remaining. It needs to be a 7-pointer to force it into extra time. Who better than Bernard Foley? It's got to be close to the post for the kick to be a real chance. Zach Holmes takes it down. The referee's got his hand up for a penalty to Australia. They were offside there. In goes Sean Foley. They need the try. They need it now. Final hooter is gone. In goes the Aussies. South Africa hanging on to their 7-point lead. And it's a scrum for Australia. On the sideline, they know it won't happen. Scrum for South Africa. And so the game is over.
Sonia, and yet so far for Australia, Keith, Bernard Foley gave it his best shot towards the end there. But the greasy service may have done for Australia in the end, but you can't deny South Africa the plate championship here at Hong Kong. They played really well. They came up against a very strong Fiji side. Two best sides probably on display this weekend. That game went into extra time, and well, done really well here in the plate final to overcome a determined Australian squad.
Well, Australia began with a win over Zimbabwe, and they beat Canada and they beat Argentina on the first 2 days. Today they lost in a close game to Samoa, 12-15. Then they beat Russia in the plate semi-final, and they've come up against the brilliance of South Africa and a very determined South African team here, and have been pipped by 26-19. So well played, South Africa. I still have to hark back to that most amazing quarter-final match against Fiji, which went to extra time before a breakout try took Fiji forward and put South Africa into this plate final. And I must say, disappointment. But we'll go to the South African captain now with Willie Losay. Good stuff there, Willie. The voodoo that Willie was talking about in the question was the fact that South Africa have never won here in the big cups. And so we now watch Australia go up. I hope they're not too disappointed. They put up a good show. Osama Abbasi, the CEO of Asia Pacific for Credit Suisse, who are in their final moments of 14-year sponsorship, for which the Hong Kong Rugby Football Union paid a special tribute earlier today.
Will be presented by Mr. Osama Abbasi, CEO, Asia Pacific Credit Suisse. Thank you, Mr. Abbasi, for stepping in all those years ago with the sponsorship.
So there's the mention for Mr. Abbasi's company, Credit Suisse. Donald Tsang, the chief executive of the Hong Kong Special Administration Region of the People's Republic of China, is the gentleman to the left of the men standing there. So he effectively is the man who is the main man in the political circles here in Hong Kong. So it's always great to see Mr. Donald Tsang. With him is Brian Stevenson and then Osama Abbasi. And a happy wave by Donald Tsang. So Australia disappointed, but rewarded with a memento, as now the South African team will come up. Just a month ago in Las Vegas, they were the winners of the Cup. Finally, here they are, taking 16 points for the winners of the plate final. Frankie Horn is the first one up. He's number 3 there. What a good player he is. And Chris Dreyer, very tall and powerful, running forward. Neil Porter there. Neil Powell, I should say. Number 4, Sibusiso Zitoli scored the 2 tries. Kyle Brown is there, the captain. He's got the trophy. It's the plate final. He's signaling the players who hopped off the podium to come back for the big picture, and there it is. South Africa, plate winners. Hong Kong Sevens, 2011. Away they go. Prince Lewin Brown and Delport. Sitoli. Photographs taken, mementos made and offered. Wonderful memories. Okay, 1 game to go. Stand by for the big cup final in Hong Kong. It's between New Zealand and England. With me, Keith Quinn, in the commentary will be Nigel Starmer-Smith.
Thanks, Keith, and what a final. The climax, the 60th and final game of the 2011 Cathay Pacific Credit Suisse Hong Kong Sevens. The meeting of the top two in the IRB World Series Championship. First equal at the moment, each on 80 points, and these, the two unbeaten teams of the tournament, meeting for only the second time in the Hong Kong Sevens final.